Hello, it's Julie Rothwell here from artyheaven.com. Thank you if you're joining me live. You might have seen this week I've been doing a series of live videos sharing my art and just some, lots of different stories, inspiration, sharing, just lots of little messages around art in general and my art in particular. So if you haven't come across me before, my name is Julie Rothwell. I am an artist and a photographer, and primarily in my art side I tend to specialise in encaustic wax painting, which is hot wax painting. I've been doing it for about 12 years and I just absolutely love it. There's something so special, so magical about the medium and about the pieces that it creates. It is just wonderful. So anyhow, this is the second in a series of videos where I've been showing my actual art. I did one yesterday. It was a bit chaotic. It was crazy to say the least. Yeah, it was a bit chaotic, but we got away with it just. But the purpose is that one of the things I was talking about with my live videos earlier this week was about things not having to be perfect. So that's exactly how this week has gone and the format has been. And we were just talking a lot about fear in art and kind of creating art, procrastinating. It's the old blank canvas syndrome. So we kind of covered that quite a lot. And hi Paula, nice to see you. Yeah, we covered a lot of that on procrastination and just not actually, just getting over that hurdle of first creating art, and then also just some of the healing effects of art as well. So we were touching on, if you're actually, whether you're creating artwork yourself or whether you are just, just viewing artwork. So anyhow, we touched on that yesterday. Yeah, I did set myself a bit of a challenge this week, I will be perfectly honest. I announced that I was going to do this, put this art sale on, and so one of the things we were talking about was public accountability. So often it's very easy to hide away and either not share your art, not talk about it, or not create it. So what one of the couple of the tips that I was sharing was that public accountability, whether that be announcing you're going to do something and then you make sure that you meet those timescales, or just putting some artwork in an exhibition, or maybe doing an open studio, that kind of thing. But I find personally having that deadline for me just really sharpens my focus. And the other thing is just setting a regular time to do it as well. So anyway, you can go back on, I expand on that a bit more in the other videos that I did earlier this week. So if you want to see those, you can. Anyhow, what I said I was going to do this week was to share, or sorry, not this week, on these videos was share some actual of my physical artwork. So I shared some last night. And the lighting wasn't great. This room, the lighting isn't great in here. But anyway, we're going to do the best we can with the lighting we've got. What's going on with my hair today? It's gone crazy. Anyway, yeah, so I say it was a bit frazzled. And then, so I sat here this morning, I'm thinking like, what am I going to do? Just literally just regrouped. And another of the videos I shared earlier in the week was just about what art can do for you, and just it can just still you and make you, just be still was what came through for me, and I can literally feel that in the colours. So that's what I did this morning, and I came in and I sat down and yeah, I just kind of, it's like, okay, now I'm ready to go again. So hopefully that will come across in this. Anyway, I won't ramble too much. I'm going to turn this around and show you what we will be sharing. So I've got 22 pieces of art around here, so that I'm going to be sharing today. So I'm going to go through them in order. And when I say 22, these 7 pieces along here are actually part of one piece. So we'll go into that. And I'm going to share each piece one by one and explain a little bit more about each one. So hopefully it will come across okay. So what I'm going to do is I've actually got, as I go through each one, I've got a web page which has got a special, it's a special page for all of this going on. Listen to me. Okay, I can't manage to read comments and copy and paste links and put them in here. So Paula says you should see mine. I'm thinking referring to hair. It looked all right before I came on. I've gone on and it's gone crazy. Anyway, it is what it is. Another of the things that we were talking about, I'm trying to find myself live so that I can share this link in the comments. One of the things we were talking about this week, well, here we go. Right, I am now posting the link to all of these 22 pieces of artwork in the link in the comments below. So you can click on that. Hopefully it doesn't take you off the live video, or you can come back and look at it. Hopefully you're on a computer and you have 2 browser tabs open at the same time. Right. Anyhow, all about imperfect action. So one of the things, we were talking about done is better than perfect. So that is definitely the theme of the day. And another thing was talking about that also fear going into galleries and buying artwork. And it's, you know, sometimes you go and it's all really minimalist and you're just almost afraid to step foot inside the place. So this, you know, me sharing my art in this way is hopefully you will see quite approachable, quite normal. I've gone into art galleries and they can't even be bothered to look up from the desk to talk to you, and it really knocks me. So so I'm kind of making my art accessible in a different way. I do have my work in galleries. God, what is going on? I do have my work in galleries, but I try and ensure that when I make sure that I match my work with a gallery, that you're going to get a friendly welcome and someone will explain the work to you. So I'm quite selective about where I put my pieces these days. Anyhow, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through on this web page. So I have got a web page here. Don't look at all my hundreds of browser tabs. It's another thing I discussed, how many browser tabs you've got open at any one time. So if you go to this web page, artyheaven/February 2023 select art sale. Could possibly have done a shorter slug really, but there we are, or URL thing. But what you'll see on here then, there is a countdown of how long this sale is on for. It's only on this weekend. I'm doing a one-off sale and I'll come back to that and explain why. And then there are 22 pieces within this sale. So what I'm going to do is go through in order on this video. I'm going to go through in order of the pieces that are on here and explain each one by one. So you can see I've got 22 pieces in all. So it's quite a nice little number. So the reason, let me just explain the reason why I've just put this on a really short timescale. We are actually going to be doing a road trip at the beginning of March. So we are travelling from Cornwall all the way up to Kent. Couldn't get much further apart on the UK. So I need to make sure that any orders that come in, I've got time to package them. All of my pieces of original art go out with a certificate of authenticity. I make sure they're packaged beautifully, etc. So I want to make sure I've got time to do that. But also, you'll see on the bottom of that page, I've done it as a bit of a bonus. If you live across the south half of England, I might even deliver it in person. So yeah, if kind of travel and dates and everything coordinates. Otherwise, any purchases will be, you know, sent by a normal courier delivery. But it would be great to meet and see you and find out where this work is going. Anyhow, no further ado, I'm going to come back to this. So I'm going to kick off with this first piece, which is called Suspended in Time. So I'm going to go through these one by one now. So I've got 3 different sizes of these unframed pieces, and that is this one here. So this is called Suspended in Time. Hang on, let's try getting it the right way up. That'd be a good start. So the reason I put these on, another reason I put these on sale is because they're all still in cellophane. I didn't photograph them fully before I put them inside. So this, and again, it explains on the web page. It saves me unpackaging them all. You know, they're all sellotaped in. There's a lot of unpacking and repacking to do. So by doing them this way, the photographs on the website are a bit rough and ready, but it means that you get some beautiful original artwork. I don't need to spend my time unpackaging them and repackaging them to photograph them and then get them done. So basically I've put them on this short time scale sale. Bit of a win-win really for everybody. Anyhow, this is one of a series of pieces. I'll come into the explanation of this one in a little while. So this is Moments in Time. So it's a blue, really beautiful blue. Well, there's a number of, it's kind of a monochrome colour, and I created it on my A2 hot plate. So it's a blend of blues that have gone on, and then I've you know, pulled into those, and actually I've kind of got some squeegee scrapers that I've then created these shapes with. And I've got, so I've used a roller here. So all of this is hot when it's applied, and then as it cools and solidifies, it goes solid on there. So, and then, you know, cools into its final piece. But I don't know, it's just beautiful. For me, it's just like moments in time. So the size of this one is, so the mount along here is 61 by 61. So they're quite a nice size for, once you've got them framed up, they kind of make quite a nice statement piece. So there are I think three or four of these blue ones. I'm going to come back to more on explaining about them in a minute. I'm going to jiggle between putting my phone in the phone holder and holding it handheld. It's a combination of reasons, but we'll see how we go. It depends where the light's shining on the day. Last night the lighting here was, on my live, the lighting wasn't great at all. So we will see. Anyhow, the next piece is Mermaid Spirits. And as I explained last night, so this is this piece. So if you didn't catch the live last night, I shared more about how she just kind of developed from the piece. She wasn't originally going to be... she was originally going to be a landscape format and an abstract, and then just I got this overriding strong feeling that this image just emerged basically. It's 180 centimeters high, so it's really quite tall. I mean, I'm you know, I can reach the top. It was a real challenge to create, and 90 wide. But I'm just, I've said on previous videos, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I've moved location and I just don't have the space to store this piece. And my intention had been that I was going to be working very large scale on pieces, but then COVID hit. I needed to move out of my studio, and I haven't had the space to go back to doing those large scale pieces since. So I will get back to large scale again, and I'm sure that abstract one that is in my mind is going to come out somewhere along the line. But for the time being, I've just got the one large scale abstract piece, and I've put it on at a big discount, just because I just don't have the space to store her at the moment. So, but the presence that she gives in a room, when she was up in my last place in Hertfordshire, we had a big games room. She was in there, like you could literally, I can't kind of get back quite far enough here, and I've got the other pieces lined up below. But you know, the presence that she, or the energy that you kind of exude from her, from the piece, it's quite a presence in the room. So if you have the right kind of space for it, really can be quite it's going to be quite a formidable piece for somebody. So that's that second one. Also, if I scan over any of these too quickly, or if you can't see the texture or you want to look at something closer, please just pop in the comments below. And yeah, just you know, chit chat in the comments as we go. I'd like this to be as interactive as possible. So if there's one that you can't see, or maybe the cellophane's caught, or you just want, you know, or if you like it or don't like it, put it in the comments. It's fine. And the other thing that, you know, you don't have to like everything. It's you know, one piece of art will speak to one person and one will speak to somebody else. So it's about finding that right piece for you, whether it's, you know, my art or somebody else's. It's just an opportunity to have a look through some of my pieces. So this next piece that I'm going to pull up is Chakra. Now, this has been on my website for a little while. Let me turn this around. So this piece is called Chakra. It consists of 7 pieces of individual artworks, and obviously ideally you would have them, you know, say ideally, you know, in terms, I don't claim to know all about the chakras at all, but the little bits that I have encountered, and the colours that that you get, and the feeling that I get from colour. Again, I touched on this earlier in the week on some of the other videos. The feeling that I get from the colour, it just really, it calms me and it stills me. And that's the feeling that I get from these pieces. So they're designed so that you could have them, you know, going up this way, depending on the space you have. You could have them quite close together, a bit like I have here. Or you could have them, you know, it's really space, you know, with lots of sort of negative space within them as well. So they're kind of designed to be quite adaptable in that respect. I'll do some close up. Hopefully you can see this okay. Do let me know in the comments. Oh, hello there. Thank you. Oh, I love my pieces. Thank you. So they've kind of, although they've got one primary colour, there is a mix of colours going on inside each of them, just to kind of bring them to life a little bit more. So all of these colours, but I mean, as I say, I don't claim to kind of know all about chakras or anything at all, but the little bits that I have come across, that I've just found them so beneficial. And like I don't know if you've ever heard like those sound bowls that you get, and you just hear that beautiful sound and it just touches me somewhere, just sort of deep inside. And that is exactly what I get with these colours, not necessarily just in this piece, but with most of my pieces actually. And it's, I can't always articulate it, but it's just that feeling, and it's just such a feeling of calm. So that's that particular piece called Chakra. But yeah, it is that, and it comes back to what I was saying earlier in the week, it's that be still, and it doesn't necessarily make sense, but it's, for me, it's more of a feeling, and it's just like, oh, just be still. And that's what colour does for me and a lot of people. So that's why I'm sharing my art this week. If that's something that helps you and suits you, then great. If not, that's fine too. What's Paula's saying here? She's like a guardian angel looking out for you. Oh, yeah. I think we're obviously talking about our Mermaid Spirits piece. I kind of did her. She was in my mind, and the idea was, I'd seen a very loose image online, but what sparked it was like this goddess rising out of the water, and the image was so powerful and I loved it. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's the format of that piece that I've got, and it just came out from there. So wasn't really planned. It was quite an intuitive piece, and it just came out from nowhere really. So anyway, yes, thank you for those comments. It's lovely as we go through. Right, next piece on the list. As I say, I'm going in order that they're on the on this webpage at. So, and hopefully, if you come back and replay, you can work out in order of where they are. So this next piece is called Nanosecond. This is another one of these mounted pieces. Let's find it. Nanosecond. That is, it's one of these blue pieces. I'm not sure if it's this one or this one. I think it's this one. Let's have a little look. Yes, this piece here. So again, this is 61 by 61. Let's go this way because I'm hoping that the light doesn't reflect as much. She says, So this whole series that I did was, I mentioned them on yesterday's live. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there are a few here that I've done on the hot plate. And it's similar to this one, the time, suspended in time one. And although you kind of see them as a whole, and you look at a distance, but equally when you get up close, there is an awful lot of detail that goes on as well. And when I'm looking at them, I just get lost in this detail. Hopefully you can see that hopefully you can see this coming across okay. So can you see like all the individual pieces of wax that are going on as well? So that although you've got some, main structural pieces, so you've got these kind of circles coming around, and then the shapes that are kind of inlaid within the wax, you also have these areas of detail. Put the microphone on for a minute there. Off rather. But what that kind of reminds me of is, one, it's kind of moments in time, but again, it's about stopping and being still in time as well. And whilst I was thinking about it, so like I'm always picking up feathers when I'm out on walks and things. I love feathers. I don't know, they just seem to be there when you're walking. But you can look at it and you can see a feather, or when you stop and actually look at the detail, you've got all those individual barbs coming through, and that's that kind of same essence that I've got with this sort of whole group. So I've got 4 or 5 in this style. They're not all in order on the website to go down, unfortunately, but you know, hey. But they all have that. They were all created at the same time, and they had that same intention with them. So although there are kind of bigger, bolder structures within the piece that you see from a distance, when you look up close, you've actually got that really close-up detail as well. So that kind of covers each one of those, really. So there is Nanosecond, which is, oh, hang on, this piece here, which is on the site. So I'll put this one up here with that one, as we've already gone there. And then the next one, okay, so they've added to the website in the order that I added them, so they're not especially, so this one isn't quite in the same, like that detail thing with the feather that I was talking about, but this one is called, I'm reminding myself, oh hang on, I'm jumping ahead, Navigate. We're going to go the blue one next. We are more in order. So again, that same size, 61 centimetres. The image inside is 33 by 33, I think it was. I'll get my tape measure and check. If you want to know for sure, well, the you know, the dimensions of the image and the mount are on each individual piece on the website, so you can see the main dimensions at the top are of the overall size of the piece. But again, this is another one where, you know, from a distance you kind of see, if the light's not reflecting, from a distance you see the, you know, sort of circles in time, the marks, the stretches, the, you know, the main sort of overall shapes. But again, when you kind of come and look in at detail, you've got a lot of these you know, just marks. And I love doing this monochrome effect, lights and darks, so they're all created with using one colour, but you get this whole range of values as you on the one piece from the same, you know, from the same colour. So anyhow, that is that one. Hopefully you can see it okay and kind of get the essence of the piece. The next one is this, I think I'll call it Pink Blush. Remember all the names off the top of my head. So this piece is Pink Blush. It's a series of different colours. It's just really bright, really lively. There are a host of silvers and pinks and purples and reds and a bit of black. So it's a real kind of firework display of different colours. Little silver pieces on there. Always I generally put my initials on the bottom right of all of my pieces. Sometimes there are exceptions for particular reasons, but that's generally where you'll find it. So it's JA for Julianne. But as I say, they always come with a certificate. They're always signed on the back as well, and they always come with a certificate of authenticity too. But as I was saying last night, you know, they're quite a big large sized piece. Let's move up here. But you know, if you've got, once you've got a frame, let's turn it around this way, hopefully you can see a bit better. But you know, once you've got the frame around that as well, it makes really nice, kind of quite a big statement. All of these pieces at this size, quite a nice statement piece at that size. Particularly those blue ones, actually. If you've got a big enough wall, you can kind of get them all going as a few together, and they can look really stunning. Right, back to the order that we're working down. Next one up is Beyond Sight, which is this piece here. So again, that's that same size, 61 by 61 centimetres. And again, we've got that same, as I said, I did these all in a series together. They actually, and the reason that I was doing an exhibition at Oxford Art Fair. Paula, you'll remember that one. It was the most amazing experience. It was fabulous. and these were done for that exhibition, but I didn't photograph them before I left, and I've just been putting off taking them out, rephotographing and packaging, and that's why I decided to do this way of sharing them instead. But again, we've got that up close detail and these sort of swathes and patterns within the layers as well. So that's that piece. As I say, if there's any that you want to see in more detail, I don't want to spend hours on them, but equally if there's any you want to see in more detail or a close-up photo or anything, then just say and I'll be happy to share them. Right, next up on I explained these next two at quite in depth last night, so if you want to know more about those, that's Ice 1 and Ice 2. So these are kind of middle-sized pieces of my square ones. They are 51 by 51, and the can't remember the image size off the top of my head. It is on my website, but there are two of those, 1 and 2. They can look great. I mean, you can buy them individually, but they do look great, you know, side by side or one above the other. I won't go into those two in too much detail because I did put quite a lot of time with those yesterday evening. The next two are Midnight Blue 1 and 2, and those are these two. So these two are framed pieces. So far all of the pieces I've shared have been just in, you know, mounted, mounted. So they're double white core mounts. Let me just show you. So double white core mounts, and they each have a backing board on them as well. So, you know, they have a backing board here. I like double mounts. They just kind of give a bit more breathing space to the image in behind. These ones are framed. So I showed these in quite a lot of detail last night. The colours are showing up much, much better today. Yesterday evening I had was having all sorts of trouble with the reflections of the window and the lights. Mind you, I say that and I can see reflections now, but as soon as you put really strong pictures here beside, but you know, in normal circumstances you can see they don't reflect as much as this. Let me move this one across so it's not going the same light. So you can see this okay. Again, I went into these in quite a lot of detail yesterday evening, so you can check back on the video on those. Let's turn this around again. Yeah, I went into quite a bit of detail on those yesterday, but they're called Midnight Blue 1 and 2, and I just think they are, again, they just do that, just lose yourself in them. It's that be still moment again, and you can just literally lose yourself, and it is, well, I'll keep saying it is that be still, and it's that healing aspect of them. I think I again, in one of the earlier videos I was explaining that I had 3 pieces at the end of my bedroom at my old house, and I would just wake up in the morning and just like, the images just, I can see them now. Art has the ability to do that to you, and it might not be these pieces that do that for you, but it, you know, somebody else's or something that you create yourself. I just think it's a really, really powerful thing. So those two are Midnight Blue. Okay, so we've got 2 little smaller pieces now. So the next 2 are 2 fantasy landscapes. Actually, in that case, sticking with the same theme that we've just the 2 big pieces. So the 2 here, this kind of style, but quite a bit smaller. So these are more or less A4 in size. Which order they go? Yeah. So we've got Fantasy Landscape 1, which is this one, and then Fantasy Landscape 2, which is more of a coloured piece. So they are both on there. I do quite a lot of these. As I said in yesterday's video, I don't generally do sales of my artwork, and I have all sorts of different styles. But I'm literally just doing these because I don't want to take them all out of the cellophane and re-photograph them. You know, if I had to re-photograph these, I've got to unframe them, and I just don't want to do that. So that's why I'm offering these at these prices. If you like this style, I do have others on my website that aren't in the sale, but I do have a lot of this style of pieces on my site as well. As I say, I generally do not do sales of my work. I just don't think it's fair for people that have, you know, paid full price for things. So this is a one-off just for this weekend. So right, I've got some. So let me show you these two again. I've got some comments. Hang on, let's have a little look. Love the midnight blue, perfect for Hall Stairs landing. Yeah, there was they just looked amazing where we had them. You need quite a big space to put them in, but you know, they had a nice bit of, you know, spacing between the middle of them, and they looked great. So, and then these two as well. Right, so that's those ones. Oh, and Rose says I love that one. I'm not sure which one you were meaning, but yeah, one of the fantasy landscapes, I think. Anyway, thank you. So that's those two. What have we got next? Okay, these next three I am going to explain. Hang on, I think I've missed one. Hang on, bear with me. Ooh. Twirling around and around. I think I've missed a red one. I have. Right. The next, I've missed one as I was rushing through before ice. This one called Calm. So that is another one. It's a smaller piece. It's the middle size. You know, when I was showing you the three sizes, where are we? There. It's the middle size. So this one is 51 by 51 centimeters, and again, this is one of those ones that I did on the hot plate, where you've got some overall structural pieces from a distance, and then when you get in close, you can really see this detail in there. And this piece has actually got quite a bit of silver in amongst it as well, if I can catch it in the right light. So kind of as you're walking around the room, when the cellophane's not on it, you will see it much more. Do you know what? Holding a phone, catching things in the right light, it's much easier when you see these things in person. That's a sticker on the front, by the way, not a... But there we go. So hopefully you can kind of see when the silver pieces catch the light, and there's a few of those little sparkly pieces on the way up through. Silver, you've got to be quite careful with silver with encaustic. It's beautiful, but a little bit goes a very, very long way, and it can overpower pieces sometimes. So yeah, I use silver a lot, but I try and use it quite sparingly, because you can suddenly just end up with this blaze of silver, which is nice on occasion, but not always. Right, I thought I'd missed one. So that one is Calm. So let's go back to the order that we did ice, we did midnight blue, and the two fantasy landscapes. Right, so yes, these next three pieces, I'm going to explain a little bit about these three. So they're the smallest three that I have of these square ones. 2, 3. Now you'll see I've just called them 40 by 40, 1, 2 and 3, and there's a reason that I hadn't shared them, and sometimes the names will come to me of a painting and sometimes they won't. And when you're putting things on your website, you kind of they need to have a name, and they need to have a title, and people want to know what was inspired you to do them. And sometimes that comes to me whilst I'm creating a piece, and sometimes it doesn't. These particular ones, it didn't, and I've just been looking at them thinking, am I going to share them? Am I not? Am I? But when I've done this before, and I've put a piece out in an exhibition, often the ones that I think, oh, not sure, they're often the ones that go first. So it's interesting. So I've put these three in. They are literally just called 40 by 40, as in centimetres, the width of the mounts, or the size of the mounts, and I've called them 1, 2 and 3. Simple as. there for you to kind of put your own interpretation in. And if they speak, what I find is often my artwork, I kind of create it, but I don't know the rest of the story. It's like the viewer creates the remainder of the story with it, and so that's why I've put them on, and that's why they have such little information in terms of title or anything like that. So I'll turn them around again, and also the other reason that, talking of actually little amounts of information on the site, it takes a huge amount of time to upload details, and you know, so each one of these, the photographs are not great on the website, and they have no additional info in them. It's literally just the size of the image, the size of the frame, the size of the mount, because all that other stuff just takes so much time to pull together, so, and that's why they're at the prices they're at. So let me show you these three again. So as I say, they're 40 by 40 centimetres wide, and yeah, there we go. So that is that one. I don't think it's possible to do this in a handheld holder, to be honest. It's we're a bit all over the place. Right, next one is called Bittersweet. I'm hoping you can kind of follow this along on the computer as well as the live, maybe, or else come back and have a look afterwards. So this piece, this is a really special piece that is quite close to my heart. It's called Bittersweet, and as I was sharing earlier in the week, I was just sharing about how healing art can be, and you know, it can, the actual process of creating work, when I had my studio and I was running an awful lot of workshops, we had people coming in all the time doing workshops. It was amazing. But I would see people and they'd come in and they'd be wound up and they'd be like, I don't know why I'm here. And during that process of creating, they would just be like, oh, and again, you'd get that moment. And it's just wonderful, the process of creating anything, whether it be a, you know, whatever it is you like to do. It could be tapestry or playing a piece of music or whatever. But for me, it's art, and for a lot of people that used to come and visit my studio, it was also art. Excuse that. You can hear the radiators gurgling. It's not my stomach, I promise you. Anyhow, going back to this piece, just the process of creating is just such a cathartic thing, and it is beautiful. But this particular piece, hopefully I won't cry during this. Let's turn the piece around. But yeah, I actually created it. It was when our son moved out of the house, and I wasn't expecting to cry when I started talking about it. Crikey. God, he'll kill me if he sees this. Anyhow, he was moving out, and I was so proud for him. He was moving into a flat. It was our youngest son, and see, art can be emotional as well for the artist and the viewer. So anyway, I'm going to turn this around. If you just joined, excuse me, I didn't expect to burst into tears live on the stream. Bear with me. So anyhow, he had just moved out of the house, and you know, you get that melancholy feeling, and I didn't quite know what to do. So I went up into my studio and I started creating. And that's why I called this piece Bittersweet. And whilst on the one hand I was really sad that he'd moved out of the house, on the other I was just really proud for him and really happy for him. And this is the piece that came out whilst I was doing that. So yeah, hence it's called Bittersweet. I wasn't sure whether to put it into this particular, considering the meaning with it as well. And I certainly hadn't expected to get emotional whilst I was on camera. I'm just going to grab a tissue, recompose myself. But, you know, this is the effect that art can have. And, you know, it's healing, it's emotional. It just kind of, it lets, you know, it's not just a plain piece of, sitting up there, hair, I forgot about my hair. You know, it's not just like just something on the wall. There is this absolute emotion that goes with artwork as well, and I've seen it and experienced it so many times within my studio when I was running workshops, and also feedback that people have given me when they've purchased pieces from me, and they've seen that, or they've seen something in my work that's then created something within them that has then sort of, you know, really helped them and really healed them. And as I say, just creating it yourself can really have that effect. And anyhow, I didn't cry when I was creating the piece, and I didn't expect to cry today. But it was really helpful for me to just sort of process my feelings, and it was this feeling of immense proudness that he had gone and done, you know, taken his next step in life. But equally, it was just like, you know, it's a big life-changing moment. And yeah, it was just hence the sort of kind of spikiness of the piece and softness in behind, quite bright colours, but a bit of melancholy in there as well. So hence the title of the piece. And yeah, so, and that one isn't, I haven't put that as a sale price as such, but the intention of that, didn't expect to have that little outburst. Anyway, you know, as I said, this is going out live and it's real. So that particular piece is due, the reason I put it in the sale is that the intention of it is to come in. So I've got some pieces on my website. This is one, I called it in the beginning. This isn't in the sale. This is on my actual website. I love these pieces. They just look amazing. I've got a few of these frames and they just set this work off beautifully. But the intention is that piece is going to go inside of there, and then it will be on my website at the usual price. As I said, all these others are in cellophane, so I can't get decent photos. This one isn't in cellophane, and therefore I can. But that's the intention with it. So if you like this piece, if you want it, and I'm not so you know, I love it now. I just look at it with pride. I think that's been I've surprised myself at my reaction there, but you know, I'm pleased to let it go, and it should be out in the world, and it's not for me to kind of sit but it was a moment in time, which goes back to these other pieces, actually, moments in time. So the intention is that this will come in here. The price on the website is literally just for the artwork. If you wanted me to put it into the frame, I can do that, and that will be, well, we'll talk about that. When it's on my website, it will be at that full price. But if you wanted that piece in the meantime, it's an opportunity to just literally just have the artwork, and then you could frame it as you wish. So, right, please, that one's over. I don't think we'll have any more of that outburst with the. We've got what, 4 left, I think we're at. Yes, 4 left. So the next one on the page is Queen Bee. So this is this piece here. It's an encaustic piece. Now, these 3 really go back to the they go back to the pieces I was saying about down here, where sometimes the title doesn't come to me, and that was the case for these 3 pieces. So I've put them all on at the same time. There are not many of so these are actually painted quite differently. So all of these other pieces that I've shared with you so far are all painted with wax on this encaustic paper. In fact, I'll use this piece as it's, so you can see they're quite thin. They're on paper, so they need mounting and framing. They need to go behind some form of glass, and these are actually created at quite a low heat compared to these bigger pieces and these 3 that I'm about to share with you. So with this style of painting, it's still classed as encaustic. You still heat the wax to create the pieces, but this wax has a Damol resin added to it, which makes it a lot more durable, and you're working at much higher heats. And with these, you actually create in layers. So I don't know how well it comes across. Oop, hang on. You're actually building up in multiple layers on these, and then you heat the entire surface and you fuse one layer to another, and you're basically bonding. So I'm hoping you can see like the colours that are coming through with these. So I just put these in, say I wouldn't normally put them in for sale, but because okay, this one's quite straightforward, it's Queen Bee. But because the names hadn't come on these other pieces, I've just added them in as I was doing this sale. But I had been holding back because the full names hadn't fully come. And then this piece, someone very dear to me, who might be watching, might not, I'd created it, and so the story of this piece is I have this beautiful bee. Let's turn back around. So, well, I paint with beeswax, so bees are obviously very dear to my heart. I love I've worked with beekeepers. I had this beautiful dream originally. I was going to have my own beehives at the bottom of the garden, and I would create my own, you know, I'd have my little wax factory, not factory, but you know what I mean. I basically use my own beeswax in my encaustic art pieces until I discovered what a process you go through to, well, one, look after the bees. They don't just look after themselves. Two, once you actually getting the wax, and then there's a complete process that the wax goes through to pigmenting it, etc. And it's not just go and get your wax and off you go. There is a really, which I won't go into now, but there's a really involved process with it. Time consuming, costly. So I knocked that idea on the head. Didn't have the time I was barely finding time to paint, let alone be producing my own wax as well. So anyhow, I love bees, is the point of that. But this beautiful little bee came in one day, flew through my window at home, and it was a great big bumblebee, and I went and got, I was just watching it basically, and I checked online to see what you're supposed to do if they come in for a rest, and I'd found a site that said you should, I can't remember what it was I gave them, I checked it went from a beekeeping site. I can't remember if it was honey or sugar syrup, or I know there's controversy over what you should and shouldn't do. Anyhow, I did what I felt I could. But it was nice just to be able to sit and study him close up, and I had this beautiful big bumblebee come in. And I basically created this picture from my reference image, and it was sitting in this, it was just drinking on the edge of this spoon, container spoon thing of syrup water or whatever it was. I can't remember what I put out, but anyway, but it was lovely. I had this amazing ability to study it up close, and that's where this piece came from. Somebody pointed out that he only has 5 legs, but actually there were 2 here, and they've actually amalgamated in the wax, so I'm still happy with it. There were just 2 that were close together. I could put the line back in there if I wanted to, but I like it as it is. But you get these beautiful, you can see hopefully how you get these different colours and depths coming through on this piece. So that's that one. This one I've just called Gold, I think, from memory. Let's have a quick look. Oh, hang on, which order am I? No, let me do Lavender next. I'm going in order as to the pieces on the website. So this piece is called Lavender. I just decided to add it into this particular sale. I actually did it's a piece I created just before I moved house, and I just haven't got around to putting it onto my website as yet. I did a YouTube tutorial actually on creating it, so if you want to see that, that is available on my YouTube channel. So it's actually dried lavender and flower and grass seeds. You can see okay. There's quite a lot of texture. We've kind of dug back into it as well. There are pan pastels on top, and it just kind of, for me, brings this really lovely spring-like, and it looks different in different scenarios. So, laying down flat, as many of these pieces do, it can look quite dark, but then when you catch it in the light, where are we? I've got, you get this, well, there's whites on here, but also silvers coming through as well. As every time I try and find the silver pieces, here we go. So you can get some real shimmers going on with it as well. They don't want to show up when you're looking for them. Trying to catch it through a camera is really not as easy as you might think. So that's Lavender. So we're on to the final 2 pieces. The next one is this piece, which is just called Gold Leaf. Again, sometimes the names of pieces come to me whilst I'm creating them, and this one just hadn't for some reason. And it's been sitting in my, it was sitting in my studio, and it's very much as per the 3 pieces down here. You know, when I've done an exhibition, people would come in and, you know, it always caused great conversations. And so anyway, it's maybe somebody else has got the other half of the story with it. So that is that piece, and I just put these 3 pieces all at the same price in the sale. Bit of a crazy price really, considering the cost of the materials, but there we are. I decided to pop those in as well, and then I've got one last piece which brings the number of pieces to 22, which I thought was quite a nice number. So let me come, I think I'll put it down here on the floor. I love this little piece. I'm just going to plug my phone charger in whilst I'm on. I don't think it will run out, but here we go. Right. So this is the last piece. I love this little piece. It is just, it's super cute. Oh, I didn't write the size of that one down on the title. I think it was 20. It's really little. It's beautiful. I think it was 20 by 20, maybe even 15 by 15. Hang on, let's check. Tape measure here. Yeah, 15 by 15 centimetres, 6 by 6 inches. But it's called Franz, and it just sits. It's great if you've got a small space. It's a perfect sort of desk piece. But I lose myself in this piece for literally, I can lose myself for hours. It's just really nice if you've got a small spot, a little side table. It's just lovely. I've got all my fingers clashing with my tablecloth. I basically brought in my old table from my studio. It's caked in wax. It's absolutely covered, as a little temporary working space whilst I was doing this this week. But anyhow, this piece, I don't know, just to me, it just, again, I'm back to that be still. It just calms me as soon as I look at it. The most amazing blends of colours, the way it came together. There's a lot of gold underpainting, and then that kind of came through with the really kind of pale greeny blue colours. So there we are. Those are the 22 pieces that I have put on for this particular sale. As I say, I have done it so that it only runs this weekend, and that is because I am travelling from Cornwall to Kent, right up across the south of the country, next week, I think it is. Dates aren't off the top of my head, dates just kind of blur into one with me. Next week sometime. So anyway, I wanted time to be able to package anything up, but equally, if you are along that route, my Cornwall to Kent route, then I will happily hand deliver and drop in the pieces that you want. Anyhow, I hope you've, let me just quickly check my notes. There wasn't anything else that I have meant to say that I haven't. Yeah, I think that was the majority of it. As I say, I have been doing a lot of, whilst I'm talking, I'll just pan this around so you can see again. I have been doing a lot of the sharing information during the week, so there are some other videos that go into different areas, just in terms of the, you know, how healing art can be, fear around art, sparking some stories and sort of, yeah, just lots of different things that came up, and feedback and comments, etc. So anyhow, any questions, let me know. I'm going to be popping on and off over the next couple of days as well, so feel free to direct message me or drop me an email, julie@artyheaven.com, if you've got any questions, or if you want any more close-up photos, or any advice on, you know, a particular, perhaps you, often what I find is people send me a photograph of a wall and then I want something for here, but I just don't know what to put there. What do you know, can you help me, or would you, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm always really happy to point people in that direction if you want some help with that, and just give you options. But also, hopefully this will show you that, you know, original art is the most amazing thing. And that's the other thing, everything here is original. There are no prints whatsoever in amongst my works. I don't do prints, I only do originals. So I just think the energy of original painting is just so much nicer than just the colours. Encaustic is actually a very difficult medium to capture, and the colours never come out as vibrantly as they do on the original works. So I just don't try and imitate them now. They've got their own life to them. They're just organic. They're beautiful. So we just do original, and I just think that energy comes across. Anyhow, I will leave it there. Let's say any questions at all, drop me a message. Otherwise, do check out the webpage. It's artyheaven.com, and then it's /February-2023-select-art-sale. A bit long with hindsight, but hey, this is real life. I don't always think these things through. The link is in the comments below, and it's also, I will link it up onto the blog page of so that you can actually go and see the sale price now, page now. If you're on my newsletter, you get it emailed to you as well, so you can sign up at the bottom of the homepage, and then if any other sales that I do in the future, if I do them, then you can hear about them there. Anyway, thank you so much if you've joined live. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it. And any of the messages and just likes and shares and nice comments is always very much appreciated. Anyhow, I will catch up with you soon. You take care. Bye.